Here's a question from one of my YouTube subscribers. I feel like sometimes it's hard to choose the response when experiencing an emotion because some behaviors are closely linked to specific emotions. For example, if I'm angry, it's almost natural for me to feel the urge to swear, even though that isn't appropriate most of the time. So then the question becomes, how do I choose a response that lets me express my emotion while still being respectful to others? I can definitely relate to this question because I tend to have a potty mouth when I get angry as well. But in all seriousness, I think this is a really great question because it highlights the difference between reacting and responding. So when we react to something, that's very impulsive. It means that the emotional part of our brain takes over and we can't access that logical or rational part of our brain that's going to know, okay, it's probably not the best idea to curse right now in this moment. But when we respond, we are responding with intention. So we still have access to that more reasonable part of our brain, and we're not responding from pure emotion. So the way we do this is really just with the power of the pause. So before reacting or responding in any way, if you can just kind of take 5 seconds, just take a beat, it gives your logical brain time to kind of come back online and then allow you to make a more intentional decision about how to move forward. So the thing about anger is I like to think about it kind of like an iceberg. So the 10% at the top is anger. That's what we see. That's what other people see. But underneath that 90% is composed of more vulnerable emotions. So a lot of times when we experience anger, there's something underneath it, like feeling disrespected or feeling like something's unfair, or maybe we're really disappointed. You know, there's usually a more vulnerable feeling, but anger feels safer to experience and express because it's energizing, it's powerful, it kind of keeps people at a distance. Right? So when we curse, that's going to create more distance between us and that person, right? It comes off as kind of more aggressive. So really to think about what purpose is that cursing serving for you? For example, I know that when I curse, it's because I want that person to hear me and understand what I'm saying and understand the gravity of what I'm feeling. And so I feel like cursing kind of does that for me. Is it right? No. Is it effective? No. But that is what goes on for me when I have the urge to curse. So I think really just kind of tuning into, okay, well, what role does cursing play in that anger? And then thinking about what emotion you're actually feeling underneath that anger that you can start to work through, so that it's not so readily available when something small happens, because a lot of times that anger will build and build and build, right? It starts out as sort of irritation or frustration and then turns into anger, then rage. And, there's a wide spectrum of how anger can be expressed. And so really also catching it when it's in those earlier stages of maybe irritation or frustration, the emotion isn't going to be as powerful and you can kind of intervene before it reaches full-blown anger or rage. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any follow-up questions. I love talking about anger because I think it gets a bad rap, but it really gives us a lot of useful information about ourselves and can be a tool if we understand it correctly. All right, have a good one.